You guys asked some amazing questions. So today is a Q&A. Typically, we pick a topic if you're new here, and then I lecture on that topic. We've had some amazing topics so far. We're going to be starting a 6-part nervous system healing series starting next month, which I'm so excited about. But today is a Q&A session. So every so often, I'll schedule these Q&A sessions to give you guys an opportunity to ask questions up to this point. You guys had some amazing questions. There were a few that were more individualized, some medical questions. I cannot answer medical questions. I'm not a doctor. I can't pretend to be one here on the internet. So there's a couple questions I wasn't able to answer, but for the most part, you guys asked some amazing questions. So I'm really, really excited to answer because the answer to some of these questions is a lot of the stuff that allowed me to heal. So we're gonna have a really good time today. So I'm gonna make it probably through maybe 45 minutes of an hour or so, and then we'll take about a 5-10 minute break and come back. If I'm not able to make it through all the questions, which I'm going to try, if I'm not able to make it through all the questions, I will email you all the questions that did not get answered here today. Okay. Okay, so one more time, prefacing this conversation with, I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. These are the things that I would do if I was in your place. Okay, so none of this is, Kate told me to stop taking my medication. None of this is medical advice. Okay, here we go. We're jumping into the questions. First question is, can you please share your morning routine? Yes. So every morning isn't the same. And I just want to make sure that you guys understand that it is important to have a routine. And it's important to set ourselves up for the day. And I think a good morning routine can absolutely do that. But sometimes in our healing, we get so rigid in the things that we're doing that we lose flexibility, and our routine actually becomes another source of stress in our life. So if you're one of those really type A, really organized perfectionists, like trying to dial everything in, and you're in this energy of like, if I just do everything right, I can heal. I want you to recognize that your body reflects who you're being, and the rigidity and the perfection has not only contributed to you being unwell, but it is keeping you unwell, okay? So just shake that off. Here's what I do. I typically wake up in the morning, and as soon as my eyes open, I try to take a couple deep belly breaths to ground myself in the moment. I am somebody who, when I wake up, all I can think of is, I got to do this, and then I'm going to go do this, and oh, don't forget to do that, and honey, and I wake up and I'm going. So by taking a couple deep breaths, I just bring myself back to the present moment. I bring myself out of my brain that likes to go and do and achieve, and back into my body. And this just helps set the tone, keeps me more connected to my body throughout the day. We're going to talk a ton about our connection to our bodies and the importance of that when we jump into the nervous system healing. Okay, so big, deep belly breaths. And I brush my teeth. I also scrape my tongue. If you're not a tongue scraper, get a tongue scraper. That's where most of the bacteria, the bad bacteria in your mouth dwell. And that bad bacteria has a huge influence on your health. That bacteria ends up in the gut, and we don't want it there. So I brush, I scrape my tongue, I rinse my face with cold water that stimulates the vagus nerve. And then depending on the day, depending on the weather, I'll either step outside for 10 minutes of morning sunlight. And if it's dark and dreary here in the Northwest, which it often is, I sit in front of my red light, my Loombox device. Few things are more important for your overall health than light exposure within 30 minutes of waking. The sooner you can get it within waking, the better. Red light or sunlight. I usually practice a little gratitude and meditation, sometimes some breathing during that 5, 10, 15 minute, depending on how much time I have, morning sunlight exposure or red light. I do red light for probably 6 or 7 months out of the year, just because the sun doesn't come up until later. And here in the Northwest, sometimes it never comes up. And then I usually have my morning matcha, the muddy matcha that I shared with you guys. I believe it was in the first newsletter. Protein rich, lots of nutrients, healthy fats, a little bit of sea salt for the adrenals within 30 minutes of waking. I usually wait a little bit, do a nice old Instagram post, and then I exercise. 3 days a week, I do the move workouts. The rest of the day, I usually get out for a walk. And then after that, I have a high protein breakfast, typically one of my smoothie bowls, which I've shared the recipe with you guys. So it's kind of what my morning looks like. Again, you want your morning to, yes, have a routine, but you don't want it to be so long or so rigid that you're like, "Oh, I didn't do that. I'm failing at the day." And you're just in this energy of like, if it can't be perfect, I can't heal. I can't be healthy. It's not true. Okay, next question. What is the difference between responding emotionally in a healthy way? Example, someone upsets you and you want to react or let the person know they've upset you so you don't bury your feelings versus creating or contributing to a dysfunctional nervous system. I don't understand the difference. This is such a great question because we are living in an era of trigger happy people. And I think every single one of us here can relate. How often are you triggered? Everyone's trigger button is pretty big. And the reason is our nervous systems are, for the most part, overly stressed. And so we're just really quick to get upset and react. This is such a great question. I believe the difference between responding in an unhealthy manner and contributing to nervous system dysregulation or responding in a healthy manner depends on how you choose to respond to that trigger, how you process and express those feelings of frustration, whatever the trigger made you feel. Then responding in a healthy way requires us to notice the activation. If you don't notice it, you can't pause. And if you can't pause, you're going to react. But if you can pause, then you can respond. Okay, so the pause gives you time to explore, why is this triggering me so much? What is it that I'm feeling? What's the emotion? It's anger, it's fear. Acknowledge those feelings. And we're going to get into this very deeply when we get into the nervous system healing, but emotions happen in the body. So if you don't want to suppress them, where are you feeling that anger? Is your throat tight? Does your shoulders just go up by your ears? Feel those emotions, okay? And then give yourself some time to explore, why did that trigger me? Triggers are powerful teachers. And if we can use our triggers to show us where we need healing, then every time that we get triggered, we can use it as an opportunity to grow and to know ourselves a little bit more and to heal the parts of ourselves that maybe were triggered by what somebody said. The more you explore and grow and heal the nervous system, the less triggered you're going to be. So if you're somebody that's just really feel like you're really hypersensitive, you're constantly being triggered, and there's a really good chance that hypersensitivity is just a sign that your nervous system is really teed up, okay? So always pause, feel the feelings in your body, ideally, explore why, and then respond. Because if you just respond from this place of being triggered, you're probably going to communicate from a place of hurt, and it's not going to be effective. So pause, feel the feelings, explore why, then move forward in a calm and respectful manner, expressing your feelings. Maybe there's some boundaries that need to be set. Maybe you just need to say, that really hurt my feelings. This is why. I want you guys to know too that it can feel really out of control when someone's triggering you and we feel that these people are the source of our stressor. Maybe you've had trauma, or you've been around a family member or a spouse or a sibling, and you're just triggered by them, and there's this tension. You can process those emotions and get rid of that tension just with you. You don't have to often have them, tell them that you're this really hurt. You have to acknowledge those feelings yourself, do the exploring yourself, and then you can come back and have a more constructive conversation. But you've already met that pain with compassion, understanding, explored it, learned, now you're growing. So just know that so much of the work that needs to be done is just stuff that you can do without the people that triggered you. And sometimes it's not worth having a hard conversation with somebody because they might not have a growth mindset. They might not have a lot of emotional maturity. Maybe they're not doing this work, and you can be as healthy and health-minded as you, but it's not going to be met and received in the way that you hoped. And so that's why we can just heal and grow and do the work ourselves. And yes, sometimes we need to set boundaries and have hard conversations, but keep in mind that so much of what is going to prevent this from harming your own nervous system is all work that you can do. Okay, what are some ways to get the detox pathways open if your body has had issues with detoxing? Do you have a favorite thing you use to support the liver? Yes, so before I jump in and kind of talk about the ways I like to support the liver, the most important step when we think about, how do we get rid of these toxins? Step one is we need to identify the sources of toxins, right? We need to lower our toxic load. And this can be done by, cleaning up your personal care items, making sure that you're using non-toxic cleaning supplies. You're not spraying a bunch of like bleach and Windex and things that are going to contribute to that toxic load. Reducing the contact and the use of things like plastics that are also proven to contribute to the toxic load. Maybe you filtering your water, you're filtering your air, you're removing those fluoride and all the different chemicals that are in the water, in the air. Maybe you're using non-toxic cookware. There's a lot of toxins that we're exposed to when we use Teflon and nonstick pans. What else? Non-organic food sprayed with glyphosate. I know organic food can be more expensive, but we also need to understand that a lot of our crops that aren't organic, and even some that are, unfortunately, but much more so the ones that aren't, are sprayed with glyphosate. And glyphosate is Roundup, and it is proven to poke holes in the lining of the gut. When the gut becomes leaky, this is when we get systemic inflammation, a compromised immune system. So making sure that you're not getting too much glyphosate on your food by sourcing organic where you can. So we really want to think about those things first. Like how do I lower my toxic load before I just try to figure out ways that I can detox my body, okay? So when it comes to daily support for detox, it's really, really basic. We want to make sure that we're moving. Any physical activity, walking, jumping, run, any physical activity stimulates the lymphatic system, that's the drainage system in the body, and helps remove toxins from the body. Okay, so I want to make sure we're moving, hydration, staying really well hydrated. This is how we flush toxins out, right? We sweat them out, we pee them out, we number two them out, we get them out of our bodies. Okay, we also want to focus on eating a diet high in fiber. A lot of the toxins that we consume end up on the lining of our digestive tract. Bacteria starts to grow, parasites start to dwell there. They love all those toxins, right? They build up on the sides of the GI. So when we eat a diet high in fiber, the fiber actually scrapes that off and carries it out of the body. So fiber is amazing for daily detox support. We also want to focus on including foods that are high in nutrients, mostly antioxidants. These really help to support the function of the liver. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli sprouts, beets, leafy greens, those are all amazing for detox. They're high in a compound called sulforaphane, which is really helpful for liver function. Okay, I also love dry brushing. Again, this stimulates the lymphatic system, the drainage system of the body. Rebounding. You guys have a rebounder? Rebounding, bouncing on a trampoline. You can use your bed if you want. Any type of bouncing is going to, again, stimulate that lymphatic system, removing toxins from the body. We're going to get into this when we get into the nervous system healing as well, but shaking and rebounding is a really good way to release stored trauma and help regulate the nervous system. It's amazing. You'll feel the difference. You have a really stressful day, just feeling like really anxious. Maybe you have something coming up you're worried about. Maybe it was just a crazy stressful day. Jump and shake. This is how animals in the wild process trauma and stress. It's really effective. So rebounding, great for detox. Sauna, probably one of the most powerful ways to support detox pathways. You guys know I love saunas. I have a clear light infrared sauna. They are very expensive. It is by far the best health investment I have ever made. Regular sauna use decreases the risk of all-cause mortality. That's every disease across the board by 40%. Why? Because it's so effective at helping us detox. A really wise naturopath once told me disease happens for two reasons: because we become deficient, we're not getting enough of something, or because we become toxic, we're getting too much. Sauna really helps to address that toxicity. Okay, Epsom salt baths can help as well with baking soda. That also helps remove toxins, not nearly as effectively as a sauna, but it is helpful. Then I recommend deeper detoxification, typically 3 to 4 times a year. A functional medicine liver detox is what I recommend, the one that I use in my New You program. Personally, I also use some supplements that help support liver. My favorites are glutathione, NAC, that's N-acetylcysteine, milk thistle, and turmeric. I personally don't take NAC and glutathione at the same time. I cycle them back and forth. I'll take one for a month and then I'll take the other. Turmeric is something I take daily. Okay, and these supplements just help to enhance your body's liver function. Okay, for loved ones in our lives who are men who really want to start their own healing journeys involving learning specifically about health and wellness for the male body and mind, do you have any recommendations? My husband has watched me flourish and heal through your New You program, as well as the Inner Circle, and he would like to find something like this for himself. Is there anything? Gosh, you guys, it's so funny. I actually get this question all the time, and I wish I had an amazing answer for you. When it comes to doing this deeper work, a lot of the stuff that we're going to be doing over the next 6 months, a lot of the stuff that I teach in New You and in here in general, applies to both male and females. My husband does a lot of the same work that I share here, a lot of emotion processing, the breathing stuff that we're going to be learning, the trauma work, so much of it applies to males as well. When we just worked our way through that metabolic workshop, we talked about, like, obviously, hormones and cycles, all of that kind of stuff. Obviously that wouldn't apply. So there's some stuff where I am way more proponent of fasting, intermittent fasting for males, more hormetic stressors, more cold therapy. Their bodies are far less sensitive to stressors than ours. So there's some of that doesn't pertain, but when it comes to the deeper work, share what you're learning in here, share what you're learning in New You, because all of that is definitely pertains. And also, just like our kiddos, people are more inspired by and learn more by watching who you are and how you live your life than what you say, right? Actions speak louder than words. And so embody the work, and people are going to be so attracted to your healing, your peace, your growth, and your mindset. And then they're going to ask you, and if you can truly learn the work and embody it, then you can teach it. Say, well, this is what helped me. It really helped me to do these things. So encourage every single one of you to live it. And through that, you'll also end up sharing it with your loved ones.